Hi, friends. I'm going to shake the rattle here. The candle's been lit all day. Amazing day so far. So I'll send you a little bit of light as we open up this moment. Holy wisdom, holy word. And as I open to the sun going down here in California, my name is Reverend Chittick. And I want to talk to you all about sacred authority and what is sacred authority and what is those moments when you stand for your own sacred authority within relationships of family and people. So I thought we'd do a few moments of readings. I do a little bit of connection with a little bit of some of the work I've been up to over many, many years. And thought we might have a little bit of fun. Today is this day in the Mayan calendar that is the day to heal the sacred relationships that you have. I think family relationships are sacred relationships. I've had an amazing week of new community and new connections, of new wisdom keepers, more and more every day. It just seems like the aliveness of humanity is coming full circle to each one of our hearts. And as we open up the sacred authority to each of us, we open up that sacred heart, because that's where it lasts and lands and witnesses itself. And when you return to the heart, when you return to that sacred authority within yourself, there's nobody watching except for God in you, you know. And out of that comes this amazing gift, right? Spiritually and emotionally and physically. And I've been jumping a lot on my trampoline this week. And I've been doing the 4 directions and going around and around and around. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's been so powerful. I got for my birthday this year, I had been doing a lot of academic work and a lot of sitting for many years, doing writing and reading. And so my body just is heavy, you know, and so clearing all week has just brought, came out of a lot of emotion from last week. I had really, really dark moments, and I hadn't been there since I was 19. So it was dark and it was intense, and all I could do was light candles and burn sage and be around people that would love me through it. And people prayed, and people prayed with me, and people walked with me, and people gave their sacred authority back from their hearts. So I want to give shout out to many of you that have brought that sacred authority to me this week. So this beautiful gift of exchange of love and heart, I come to you from the Torch, the organization from Realizing Change in Humanity. This foundation, I came out of a dream that I started back in 2012, was Humanitera. But after a good friend, who I would call my sacred authority in this life, was Michio Kushi. And he died in 2014. And there was this moment since I was 27 in relationship with Michio all those years. And his sacred authority from the heavens watches over the Torch family. I know that clearly. And I know it stays pure and it stays well and it stays wholesome because of the angelic forces that watch over that idea that we hand this witness of each other, this love from the heart to each other. And when Michio died, there was an amazing memorial. I highly recommend going on YouTube and watching his memorial. His sacred authority gave me permission to be my sacred authority. And so at a young age, I started teaching spiritual practices. I started teaching many different areas of life that helped people and humanity. And I figured out the other day that it's been 33 years since I've been teaching world peace. And 33 is kind of a sacred number. So it felt like this week, the community I was with, I may start crying, claimed that I was Reverend Chittick. And I graduated May 22nd. And in most traditions, when you finish a Master of Divinity, you become ordained into a tradition. And I have one more year before I would be ordained into the Presbytery Church. And there's 5 more tests. And they said, we want you to claim it today. So I made a commitment to claim it. So my name is Reverend Chittick. And I'm going to claim it as an interfaith minister, because that's what I've done for many, many, many years. And I did my first master's in the Franciscan school, so I'm also a Franciscan. I wear my cross. I highly stay close to the Franciscan values and love. And the Franciscan values for me are about the rule of life. There's a rule of life that we live under, and it's called value, and it's called witness of value. So I'm going to be starting a class about the rule of life. And I'm pretty excited about that. And it'll be a group, and we're going to go deep about our values. The other part of this conversation today is about witnessing what we've done and what we've been. And being a mom for 39 years, I'm going through a passage many of you already know. The passage is that my last child graduated high school. And as she graduates high school, she's going off. Thank you. Thank you, Greg Larson. It's beautiful that you're here. As she goes off to college and she moves into her sacred authority herself, she and I have gone through so many different teenage bumps. And she came to me and she was like really a mess before she graduated. She was really like kind of off her beam. And I said to her, what do you want to do? And she said, well, I'm trying to read this book, The 4 Agreements. And I said, that's so awesome. And this was a couple weeks prior to this incident. She came to me and she said, I have to do a TED Talk, because she had like 4 more things to do before she graduated. And she had to get them done, and she wasn't focused, and she was kind of a mess because, the graduating seniors this year had to go through COVID. Their whole life got turned upside down, spiritually and emotionally. She had already been turned upside down because her dad died, 3 years ago. And so we've been going through this rocky coast, and that wasn't an easy parenting for me. Her dad hadn't been in her life really since she was 1.5. And we tried till she was 7. And he lost his custody rights by the age of when she was 10. And it was really painful. And it was really trying. And it was a really heartfelt area of my life that I had to go through. And I left for domestic violence in our home. So that relationship got really hurt early on with her, because the courts made me, do supervised visits with him. And so she had to have supervised visits. He didn't see her for 1.5 years when we left. And then he came. I asked him to come on her 3rd birthday because I just felt like, okay, he's had 1.5 years. Let's see if. And we almost got killed that day. So it was a pretty intense mothering. And my other kids had gone through a bump. And before, when I met Michio Kushi, he said to me, he said, "You're going to go through human emotion for 30 years." And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "You're going to go through every trial and tribulation so you understand this earth." He said, "You are a very heartfelt, loving human being, but you have to understand the earth. And when you come out, when you get back at 60, you'll start teaching." And about 3.5 years ago, I started teaching spiritual practices online. It was real clear that God said it's time to teach again. And I had taught in my 30s, and 20s and 30s and 40s, and done ritual and did a lot of work with a lot of different community members and different teachings. And so this relationship day to day is about this holy wisdom, holy word, how you keep your contract through bumpy moments, how you keep your contract through difficult times, how you keep your contract with God through moments of challenge. And my beautiful daughter, as I come full circle, she was crying and she said, "I don't know what to do this TED Talk on." And she had told me about the 4 agreements. I said, "Do it on the 4 agreements." She said, "Nobody would do that. Nobody would do the TED Talk on 4 agreements." I said, "That's the most perfect thing to do it over." And she fought with me, and it was like the teenage mom and her fight. And it was just like, okay, I give it up. Well, the next thing I knew, she was doing the TED Talk on the 4 agreements. And she read it to me, and I would love to read it to you someday. I would like to read it to you because it's the most powerful transmission of a young girl, now young woman, my daughter, my 5th child, that went through a hell of a lot in her personal life with her biological dad, who now she can call dad. She couldn't call dad for a long time. You know, I put her around horses in her when she turned 12, and the therapist told me when she became a teenager she was going to get really angry at me. And my sacred authority of motherhood, you know, because my kids have gone through so much and I've fallen apart and I've not kept my contract at times with my own sacred authority with God. You know, it's sacred authority is the contract between you and God. It's about you and your light. It's about you and your witness. It's about you and your love. And when I think about what my kids have gone through, their sacred contracts have got to be really powerful because they went through way too much at young ages. And I never would have put them through what they had to go through. And I've cleared it over and over and over. And that's what I want to talk about today. About your sacred authority returning to itself as you clear things within your own soul. Because when you're a parent, kids try to look up to you, but they have judgments when you fall apart. They don't see the humanness because they want you to be the parent. And so that parent consciousness, that parent love, that parent witness is such a powerful witness. And as you witness that deep authority within yourself to bring that sacred contract back to yourself after you fall down, you know, I fell down so many times. I fell down so many times. And my children had to witness my falling down. But my relationship is about my integrity to say, "I'm sorry." And I've said, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me," many times. And that feels good today in my own personal sacred authority. And when this is the day to build family relationships and to build the relationships. And we just got off the Jaguar Council. And the Jaguar Council is a group of us that have committed to be with each other in this life, to hold sacred authority together, to hold sacred witness to each other, to hold sacred corners of our lives together when we fall apart, because we all fall apart. You know, that wonderful book by, who's that wonderful, Pema Chodron, by Falling Apart. I mean, I had that book by my side for I don't know how many years. It just slept I slept beside it for many years when things fell apart. Because things fell apart for these 39 years. Things fell apart. And that sacred authority with God never left me. But I left me. I left me. And I had to rekindle over and over and over. And the kindling of the fire, the kindling of that dream that Michio gave me about the torch feels so pure, because it's within each of us that we hold that holy wisdom, holy word within ourselves and our holy sacred contract. And when we have the contract together as a community, there's nothing like it. When you build the contract together in a group of people, like we did this week, we did the 5-day challenge with Greg and Dr. Sarah on sacred commerce. And we made contracts with each other. And those sacred contracts are holy to me, because it's my sacred authority to stand with my brothers and sisters, just like it is with my Torch family, brothers and sisters. And, Provident made this amazing signature that it just keeps popping out. You are the torch, you are the torch, you are the torch. And I just left it on today. And it says, sparking the light for peace. And I can claim that today, because no matter what happened to my children and I worked on world peace for all these 33 years. And my sacred contract that I came in with was very clear that I was working for world peace this lifetime. And I was working on healthcare. I was working on natural food cooking. I was working on helping people through cancer. I was working on people getting through environmental illness. I was working on development of community relations and ritual. I did ritual after ritual after ritual. And my beautiful friend Amani said this week, when I told our other group the good of the whole, that I had fallen apart, she said, the ritual is what brings us down to our knees, because we keep that sacred contract within ourselves. We keep that sacred contract with God. The church, I love the church. So many people think religion is, I don't know how they think that. I listened to I read a really great scholarly paper this week. I want to stay in my scholarship a little bit. And I read this document, and I'll have to bring it out this week, because it was about religion and how many people think that it's religion that screwed up the world. And I just want to tell you, there's nothing in my heart that says religion helped us fall apart. It was our individual self that fell apart. Had nothing to do with religion. Now, did religious ideology do things that weren't sacred and sacred holy to their own contract? You betcha. But that wasn't religion, because religion brought people together. Religion or church means community. It's community. And whether you're in a mosque or a temple or a church, that sacred authority of holding group together is how we need to stand up. And in the sacred relationships of church, I haven't seen it happen easily, because we don't go deep enough with each other. Through COVID, I've watched a lot of churches. I've been to a lot of different churches and ceremony. I haven't been to the mosque, but I've prayed with my Islam songs. I haven't been to the temple, but I've prayed with my Jewish brothers and sisters. And I haven't been to the Sufi tradition, except prayed over some of my Sufi songs and love the Sufi tradition. I haven't gone to a temple of Hindu tradition, but I've prayed with my Hindu brothers and sisters. So as I chant or as I bring forward the witness, it's a really pure time to come back to your own personal sacred authority. No matter what tradition you're in, I really pray that every atheist in the world finds an atheist group because it's in the group that you can feel that witness. It's in the group that you can feel the holy, because you hold each other up through love. And if you can hold each other up through love in your highest witness of your own sacred authority when someone falls down, we just need to lift them back up. And that witness of love that we each find ourselves in, Holy Wisdom, Holy Word, has been the work I've been doing by reading to you sacred books and sacred teachings. So I'm going to put my candle down so I don't get wax all over my hand, which I've done so many times this week. And I'm going to have a drink of water as my sacred friend, Philip, he's a chief, and I'm really excited. He's part of Good of the Whole on Friday nights, and I highly recommend his work. He did a ritual, and he said when you drink water and you pray into water, that you drink the water and you drink the water and it goes through your body as part of all waters. So pray into your water so that you can say your prayers, so that once you drink your prayers, they go through every cell. And I did water ceremony for years with my waters near my house, my own personal blood and waters of birth and waters of mothering and waters and waters and waters and waters. So I recommend getting a glass of water. I'm going to follow Philip's lead right now. And I want you to put into that water some prayers, and you don't have to speak them out loud. Hi, Joshua Warren. But in the glass of water, say a prayer. Say a prayer about what you want in your own sacred authority, in what you want for your own family relationships. Shuni said today, our beautiful Mayan Jaguar Council elder, said, if you've got 4 relationships that are out, that's the time you better start praying a lot, because you've got to look internally. So I want you to grab a glass of water, and I'm going to take a minute and pray myself. The other thing I want you to do is, if you can light a candle for yourself, it would be really nice. And if you've got sage, or I'm afraid for my kitten because she's right up at our candle here, my beautiful kitten. If you've got a candle or some sage or some oils, sacred oils, which I've been using a lot. I've taught a lot about sacred oils. Table Talk Health is about the sacred oils and what I teach about healthcare. But if you have a glass of water, grab it. So I'm going to stop for a minute, and I'm just going to pray into my water. And I want you to pray into your water. And Philip, if you watch this, I thank you for this, because I think it's an amazing ceremony. So I'm just going to take a few moments of silence and pray what I need for me again today. And every day I drink a glass of water and do this prayer. And we can pray into the water, and then you drink it, and it will go into all your cells, and you'll live it. And he did the ceremony from moon to moon, but I'm going to do it day to day because my family needs it. My family relationships need it. My family relationships need these prayers every day. So I'm going to pray right now, and I want you to pray, and you just pray into your water, okay? I've got my candle lit and I've got sage. So actually, before I pray, I'm going to light some sage and just kind of just clear myself so my prayers are holy. This is in the native tradition, but every tradition has some sort of scent. In my Franciscan, it's that beautiful, wow, that light. Did you see the light change? It's all this beautiful purple ray. I'm telling you, this is the purple ray all week from this. Wow, lovely. That was kind of cool. Thank you much. So it's in the air. It's good to open a door or a window to let anything that's negative out. And just make a little sacrifice of purity. So let's pray into the water, okay? Then I want you to take your water and I want you to drink it and know that those prayers are going into your body. And this is your sacred authority to bring the holy into your water. Into your water, you prayed, and now let it go through your body. And this is Philip's ceremony from yesterday. And I just want to give thanks to Philip. Oh. So let's do some reading. I'm going to read out of an old journal because I've been doing this for a while. So this is how it goes. Assalamu alaikum, Wahid. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Joshua Warren, my new friend. God bless Wahid and Rizwana and Taqwa. We pray for you. So I'm reading out of a journal that I wrote many, many, many moons ago. It's probably the last journal setting was a full moon ceremony, which it's full moon, and it was July 29th. It's really powerful. And it was with Reverend Tanaka. And I've stopped studying with Reverend Tanaka when I was, I think around 38 years old. So it would have been somewhere around 1993 to 1998. I don't know which July because it doesn't have the end date. But I'm going to read to you out of this journal. Oh, here's a date. Look, I just found a date, but it doesn't mean much because my journals come and go and they write in them. 1996, this one. Oh, wow. This was when I was flying back and forth with a cancer patient, back and forth to Fermilab. Okay, this is going to be a good journal to read because this is going to be fun. You're going to go through some of the sacred gifts of me opening. Eid Mubarak. Eid Mubarak. Okay. I'll read that July 29th. Thank you, Joshua. I'll read that last one. The last one is elder gathering with Dahani Wahu, whispering the winds call a field amongst the mountains, rushing towards oneness, sounding upon the words spoken respectfully, giving thanks, grandmother, grandfather, words of wisdom to gather understanding and receive the beauty. That was a moment when I got to gather with Dahani Wahu. You can Google her. She's a native woman, and she let me sit in the middle of the sacred circle that season, whichever season that was. But I was in, and there must have been 150 people around us. And it was Dahani Wahu and myself and two other elders. There were 4 of us that held the corners of the sacred authority in that moment. And it was a sacred hoop. It was a very powerful time for me. All right, so let's go here. I'm going to start at the beginning, and I'm going to read some of these because they're writings that I call. Dr. Sarah said her little self gets out of the way and God speaks, and you'll hear that in some of the journal writings. Thy tree has protected, nurtured, and guided. Okay, yes, little one, I feel as I united in the bosom of nature. It holds the pure state of consciousness and direction, sweet smell of truth. Death of beginning, union in the all. Ancient one, I am in all my cells to purify, to recall the union, sanctioned with the universal thought. Nothing more, nothing less. Reach for what? Hold on to nothing. Release the fantasy. I will be the rose full of thorns climbing over the mountain, edge recreating desires and lust towards all boundless life flowing through me, touching life's force to flow through me, and to all I encounter, judge not any and all may we live in peace and harmony. Oh, lovely tree, how sweet you stand, straight and tall. I fall to my knees. I bow to you, to return towards nothing. Walking silently, blessed be. Thank you. I am grateful. So this is the one that Greg Larson wants me to come on our project because I read it to the group yesterday, and I didn't read all of it. So today I'm going to read all of it. But this was a teaching that came to me at Kripalu Yoga Center. And it's one of those sacred teachings about male and female consciousness. And after this teaching came to me, I really started teaching about the goddess. And I did it for quite a few years, even up until probably 10 years ago. I was teaching some of these teachings. So let's read what this has to say. The essence of the goddess. Passion, non-duality union, perplexed in the mystery of unified truth. The fluidity of the woman's essence is held in the breast of the man, united in a woman's arms, given her gift of passion and ever flowing through. We are made of sound, and the spirit is held in each cell to recall its sole purpose. Feel the vibration through the physical in the cell of every sound vibration. Every sound vibration unites us back to the physical. Reality of passion is given to man in the woman's unlimited source of wealth, which is hidden in the soul of man. When man can feel what a woman wants through receiving her essence, he will unify on a level of his own soul's purpose. In the womb of the earth is an unlimited source of energy, united in each woman. She is called back by her intuition through her driving force to be with man. When a child is conceived out of love between man and woman, the womb grows united in a love, passion for life's force. The child knows this unlimited source of endless energy as it carries the seed within. Unite man and woman, and again, receptivity is recalled by the woman. When she receives the man his seed of soul. So let me read that one more time. Then she gives the man his seed of soul. So let's go back. I didn't quite read that right. Unite man and woman, and again, receptivity is recalled by the woman. Then she gives the man his seed of soul. Mountains flow into streams and oceans, united in the realms of union, as we all are united together. When a man does not receive the essence, the oneness is lost. Love separates itself, only to unite to a closer source of energy, and it brings the soul closer to the oneness. So I'm going to read that again. When a man does not receive the essence, that means the fluids of the woman, the fluidity of her sacred waters, the oneness is lost. Love separates itself, only to unite to a closer source of energy, and it brings the soul closer to the oneness. Each man and woman can unite on this level if they open to the fluidity of the true receiving from one another. There is the key energy to unite humanity back to full embodiment of the goddess. We hold the key to understanding every cell and measuring the union to rewrite our passion of an endless source of unlimited energy. Follow onward and reach a place of harmony with all brothers and sisters. If they unite from this level of understanding, we will all understand on the oneness we all seek. To recall the soul's life force to its own destiny. Man's desire is not able to sustain this receiving. To be able to understand, a man must remain in his passion long enough to receive the cellular passing of the woman's essence, and then he will unite with his own passion. Anxiousness of one's own desire continues to block the key energy from flowing back to the ocean where we come from. Children are born unto women without this understanding, and still frustrated by man's lack of receiving the flower of the womb. Oh, may we find the seed in ourselves to contain the purity so ever provided by the goddess. Over and over, we are misled to unite with the one that will receive, understanding and hold on to the passion given here unto itself. It is ever present in nature as its pure form. The flower of the woman plant. So we're going to nature now. The flower of the woman plant receives its seed from the male and unites its boundless energy to produce. Passion for life unfolds in the death of the flower. So the dying flower, it dies and it goes to new seed. It's planted in the womb of the earth. It's untouched by the human eye. May we feel its pure essence and reunite man and woman to fulfill the dream of that circular approach. Blessed be, O Great One. You are the receiver of pain until the union will take place of oneness. Creativity will be born out of the source of this endless energy and union will occur, freeing all man and woman to fulfill their true essence. Aho. It's okay that you lost me for a moment. It's a deep teaching. It's basically what Spirit guided me, what God guided me to see, was the essence of male-female energy that's gotten lost. Now, I took that and I went into teaching about food and sexuality and teaching about the feminine and the feminine essence of her fluid. Women get really angry at men because she gives and she gives and she gives and she gives, whether it's to the children, whether it's to feeding the home, whether it's to whatever, but the man doesn't take in that fluidity. And it's the essential bonding. Man thinks he can ejaculate into the woman and that's it. But if the sacred doesn't get exchanged in a circle approach to the sacred consciousness, then it gets lost. And many of us are born with that. Many of us are born to mothers and fathers that did not fulfill that exchange. And I really am teaching this maybe for the first time in a long time, but it's coming out a new way. And when we look at the oneness of our society and the union and the understanding of sacred authority, that sacred authority goes back to itself. And there's so many split ups, right? People not attracted to their partner, not connected to their partner. And if you're not connected to your partner, there is a disconnect of that exchange. And it could come from your ancestry, and it could come from just your relationship itself, or it could come from trauma, from unleashing old traumas. So what I do with people when I work with them individually, I go into some of those old traumas and I untie them and I unblock them and I help people untie those mysteries. And out of that sacred fluidity, the essence of soul can be rebirthed. So if you aren't with a partner, then that sacred authority, you can individually take your masculine and feminine within you and heal. But it takes a lot to heal. And it takes a lot because you have to stay close to God. And it takes a lot when you feel so many of these energies not connected to the sacred authority of just earth or self. So people are not eating good food. People are not eating a wholesome food. People are not they're eating genetically modified seeds. People are not understanding that sacred authority is not unified within themselves. And to do it, they do all these practices, but they're not going back to the root of the personal conception between a mother and a father and how you were conceived. And when you're conceived out of that union of full embodiment, which has not happened through generations, then each person in a sacred relationship, in a marriage, has to find that within themselves, or it won't be in harmony because it's kept in the dark. It's kept in the dark. That reading, if you go back to this reading again and you listen to it again and you understand that the seed, the flower dies in the plant kingdom and she drops her seeds onto the ground and it goes into the dark. That's the womb. That's that womb of the earth. And that earth holds it, and heaven and earth bring that flower back up in a new color. And so this circle approach, the masculine and feminine plant work together in this union. And we have lost the art of the union. We have lost that art of the holy wisdom and holy word. We've lost the essence of the true union between male and female consciousness. And it's been generations. So when I first read One Peaceful World, Michio's book, I wrote him a letter and I said, Michio, this is the only way it's going to happen. And he taught a very simple thing. He said women need to cook for their husbands. And if she cooks, she can put her own essence into her food and heal a lot of this. But if you're cooking extreme foods and you're making your husband sick, or you're the male and you're making your wife sick from unhealthy food, sugar that makes the brain chaotic, artificial foods and flavorings, artificial toxins, then that union can never be bridged itself. So that we've got a society filled of very unhappy people. And my quest to ask God from a very young child, why are people so unhappy? In this teaching was given. And it was quite the gift when that night came. And in the sacred circle that I will build with each of you in this new group, I want you to know that that sacred authority that we will keep and we will bond together on a deeper level. We can go into these layers. Michio taught 7 generations of ancestry trauma back. And so when I met him, I had seen through the spirit already what he was teaching. And there's many, many important ceremonies that need to be done to be able to heal that sacred authority so that relationships, family relationships, generational relationships can come forward in that process. If I look at my own personal children and the wounding of the father, and the woundedness of the father, and the woundedness of the mother, because I had my own wounds, the sacred authority for them is about rekindling their own sacred authority, but it has to come through the mother and the father, or it's not going to come. And many people leave those relationships and go out on their own because they think they're too toxic. You need healers to get in the middle of this. You need people to be able to open those doors, because the sacred authority is from the gift of the gratitude that's given to your parents to just bring you here. Aveline used to say these funny things, that she used to sit with us in circle and she said, so many women come to me in so much pain that their father raped them, or their uncle raped them, or they got raped by somebody outside the family, or they went through trauma, or they went, and she said, all I could say to them was, the only reason you're sitting in this room with me right now is because you went through those difficulties. And there she was in the sacred authority. She was in the sacred authority to know that she'd gone through all of the layers for her own healing. Aveline taught me to chant. And in this reading, it talks about sound. And a lot of memory came through sound for me. And for me, I believe in ancient reincarnation understanding. I believe in eternal life. And I also believe that this is a holy, sacred life, that it's important to heal in this moment now. The sound, I grew up in a Protestant tradition. The church meant a lot from a very, very small child. I wanted to listen to the holy wisdom, holy word. I wanted to listen to the scripture. I wanted to listen to the stories. I was a curious little kid that wanted to listen to these stories. I loved staying in the church and listening and not going and playing with the kids. I had to listen to the sacred story. It was embedded in me. And my girlfriend, after my parents divorced, I used to go to church with her parents, and it was a Baptist church, and she'd go out and she's, come on, let's go. We can get out of here. Let's go play. I wanted to stay with her parents and listen to the Holy Wisdom, Holy Word, because it was sacred to me. Whatever's in the Bible, what's ever in this holy book, this is my study Bible. What's ever in this holy book are still passages, and as much as they've been translated really dysfunctionally over the years, there's holy wisdom, holy word in here. And in the sacred book of the Quran, in the sacred book of the Talmud, in the sacred book of the Hindu Gita, in the sacred holy books, there's holy wisdom, holy word. And there's nothing about religion that makes that wrong. So Aveline and I were chanting in a group of friends, and I'll actually show you a picture because I think it might be helpful. This is the Gemlight Buddha of medicine, and this was in a little place. It was a picture that was in the chapel when I went to the Kushi Institute, and in the chapel is where we chanted. And I got to see this actual statue in Japan years later. But the Gemlight Buddha of medicine I've taught many times. And its universal spirit of the Gemlight Buddha of medicine is Yai Kushi. And this healing center in Wakayama Prefecture is a very holy place to help many, many people for over the years to heal. And I have very many good stories about this space. I won't go into it today, but this is the room. This picture was given to me by Aveline and Michio. And the holy wisdom, holy word of that sacred moment of chanting in that room and not really knowing who the Gemlight Buddha of medicine was, but them teaching about it. But until I went there, I didn't really quite get it. So it's the physicality in our lives. And when we think about word, and we think about the holy word, and we think about holy wisdom, holy word, whether it's out of your Quran or any of your holy books, you have to remember sound is sacred. And so what I got that day, I went up to Aveline and I was crying, and we had been chanting the Heart Sutra. Hamnyo, Shingyo, Namakusan Manda Bazadadan Sanda Maka Roshadaya Soataya Tarata. So I used to know it by heart, but I'd have to go back and study just a couple days and it would come back like this. But I went to her and I said, Aveline, I don't think I can chant these Buddhist chants. I grew up Christian and I was only in my very early 30s. And she said to me, no. Lynn. No. Jesus is right in front of you. Sound is just sound. Sound is just sound. And it was one of the most precious moments, the most sacred moments for me as a healer, as a person that had already been doing ritual. I knew a lot of songs by then. I was teaching Sufi tradition songs and dancing, and I was teaching, I was just teaching all the time. I was doing cooking classes for people. I was helping cancer patients. I was helping. But this moment of time, and when my journal just talked about the holy wisdom, holy word, about sound, I'm going to go back and find it because I have to even read it myself. when I get the stream of consciousness and God just like comes through, it's very powerful because it's in the nothingness that I have to go to be able to have this. And it's happened my whole life, but let's see where it says. It was just a one little section in here. It's very powerful. I'm trying to find it. You're being patient with me. Oh, here we go. It was at the very beginning. Okay, man united in a woman's arms, given her gift of passion. We are made of sound. This is very, very important. These teachings were given to me on the island of Iona, and this comes many years later, but the teachings of sound is through every single thing. Every part of you has sound within you. So it says, the passion ever flowing through. We are made of sound, and the spirit is held in each cell to recall its sole purpose. Feel the vibration through the physical in the cell of every sound. Vibration unites us back to the physical. I got the name Linpo many years later by Reverend Tanaka, who I read that moment. I was at his house when we went to see, I went to see Dahani. He didn't go with me to go see Dahani, but I studied Shingon Buddhist teachings for 10 years of my life, and it was starting through Michio and Aveline, and then they wanted me to study with Reverend Tanaka, so we did so many jiu-jitsu, and we did so many different type teachings and trainings, and it was like ninja training 101. You know, I went through ninja training for 10 years. I feel like it was powerful. And the ninja training of Shingon, it's the Diamond Sutra, and Reverend Tanaka is an amazing healer, teacher of sound and vibrational patterning of sound and the sacred holiness. And Shingon tradition is the sacred sound of some of that soul teaching that I was given. I have many teachings further that came to me many years later. But when I started some of the work with Reverend Tanaka, he had us go to the sound of the forest, you know, and listen to the sound of the forest. So he would take us on these journeys, and he would take us up to the mountains, and he would take us to the waterfalls, and he would take us to the wind, and he would take us to the, you know, all the different sounds. The earth gives her essence through the sound and the vibrational sound. And she is ever giving of us. And if you listen well, you can hear her sounds. And you can find her holy sound. I've been given the gift so many times of different teachings. And this group that I'm starting, I'll let you know this week. Actually, I've got a commitment to my group to start the group. And none of us know what each other's teaching, but our graduation is tomorrow, and I want to hone it in. But Holy Wisdom, Holy Word is probably the group that I will start, and it's going to have a charge because I've been giving my witness over to know that it's time to get paid, and it's time to not worry about that beautiful Benjamin Franklin that Greg and my beautiful sister taught me about, because I can help a lot of people with my work. I've been giving it freely my whole life, and I'm 60 now, and I need to think about this other sacred holiness, which is me. And I became a nurse, and I became, worked as a nurse, and it's time for me to work the work I'm here to do so I can give this before I die. Last week was a wake-up call for me. The sacred authority within my own God consciousness of what I have, journals and journals of writings and teachings to teach, including just in the moment. I'm a healer, and God gave me this gift at birth, and I've been given the right to teach it, and I feel very blessed that my sacred authority has given me that. And when you profess your own sacred authority, you have the ability even to teach your family members and your family relationships so that they can bring into their own sacred authority. It's not easy because my children have been wounded. It's not easy that they've seen me fall apart. It's not easy that they've seen me be the wounded Lynn. But isn't that what we go through to be able to bring the full spiralarity? The spiralarity of life is the spiral of life. The gift of these sacred moments that we'll have in this group will help you to remember, remembrance to remember. So I'm going to be I wrote a book back in 2015, and it was given to me, again, a time when I just started writing. And it's sacred teachings of you to remember who you are, to remember your sacred authority. And I think some of the practices will help you come back to yourself. I think the sacred authority will help you come back to some of the vibrational healings that we will do in this class. It's a witness of many, many years of my culmination of work. The Torch family is the light. We work in 4 pillars: peace, health, environment, and technology. So all of you are welcome to be on the Torch platform. The sacredness of my brothers and sisters on the Torch platform are profound wisdom keepers. Taqwa Ahmed, her dad was here, is one of the most holiest that I've seen in the witness of a child. And she taught on our birthday. We share the same birthday, July 16th. And that is a witness of what happened when we met. And she named the Torch family. I named the Torch out of my dream. But she named the Torch family because she knew we were a family. And she knew that we were holding sacred authority to our own family, the Torch family. And that Torch family's been a witness to so many people now. 3.5 years. It was our 3rd anniversary on July 16th this year. And because I'm not a business woman, because I'm a teacher of sound, Reverend Tanaka had given me that name, Linpo. I'm a teacher of the sacred sound. I'm a teacher of the sacred holy. And as a teacher of the sacred sound, it means the teacher of the chakra system, the teacher of the vibrational patterns of heaven and earth. I taught this many moons ago, prior to this life. And so to remember and recall that at 31 was a very powerful moment for me. And then to be taught all the way through till now some of the reasons of why people are entangled into entangled relationships, including our family members. The holy wisdom, holy word, for me comes through my own ancestry. And I'm grateful. And I think if anything else today, that glass of water that we prayed into, I'm going to finish my glass. If you weren't here, the practice is to get a glass of water, light a candle, get an incense, or, it can be frankincense if you're in the Catholic tradition, or if you love frankincense. I love frankincense. You can use a frankincense oil and smell it into your hands. I sell sacred oils, so if any of you want sacred oils, it will help the Torch family, because everything that I make goes back to the Torch family. It's called, what's the name of the oil? I'm sorry. Ecoinspiredoils.com. I'll put it in the post. I'll put it in my banner so you guys can go to that. That would help the Eco-inspired oils. So these are amazing oils. These are really special, and I highly recommend them. And if you want to know more, just text me and I can teach you more on what to order if you want to get some sacred oils. I'm learning about them. I'm fairly new to the oils, but I am totally shocked at the sound and the understanding of Plant Kingdom that Gary brought forward. Gary Young started Young Living, and it's a really precious company. But anyway, so you can put, the sacred oil into your water. You can do a lot of different things with incense. So get a candle, get some incense, and get a glass of water and pray into the water. And I'll leave you with this. This practice can help you because it can bring that water into the fluidity of your own soul. And pray into the water what your family needs, what you need, what your community needs, what maybe your community in a church, maybe there's discord, maybe there's, people that have hurt you, pray for them. Pray for the people that have hurt you and wounded you. Pray for the people that have anything into the water, and then drink it. And when you drink it, Philip gave this practice yesterday on the good of the whole. And when you drink it, it will go down into your cells, and you will live those prayers through your cellular knowledge, because the waters are sacred. The Torch family was really powerful the other day. I don't remember who taught it. I really don't remember, but they said that the torch, the fire, the waters have been destroyed on the planet. The air has been polluted. The waters have been polluted. The earth has been polluted. But the sacred fire cannot be polluted. And I believe the holy wisdom, holy word, is if each of us take a responsibility and build a 4-person team in your local region and become your deep passion and build that 4-person team. One person that loves peace, one person that loves health, one person that loves the environment, one person that loves technology, and build out a local team, and then keep building it and spiral out to build a sacred community around you through the fire, through the Torch family. And that sacred fire can burn as a spiralarity out into the earth. And out of this sacred union, we can help one another as entrepreneurs live a holy life. We can live our own sacred authority by witnessing each other. I really pray you join us. I hope you join in with all the sacred communities going around the world right now. Join a tribal community that fits. But remember, the fire in you will never go out. When you die, that spark will be lit into the etheric world, into the sound world, into the vibrational world that you are. And as you bring it on, as you bring your sacred authority to this beautiful earth, and how many of us need it? How many of us need to heal those family relationships? How many of us need to share those holy places in our lives? That we bring forth the gift of the Holy Spirit, the gift of the holy together, the gift of the holy witness to one another. And as my body's vibrating at a pretty beautiful consciousness right now, I'm very grateful because I let my body go. And I want to give thanks to Greg and Sarah Larson this week, because Dr. Sarah gave me the permission to live in this body, to be who I am, to be all that I am. And I've been jumping on my trampoline, and I'm going to go out one more time today. I'm committed to doing it 3 times a day for 15 minutes each right now. And I'm putting that sacred authority out to my community to hold me to it, because I need the physical form to be able to be here. So that holy wisdom, holy word, and my sacred authority to you today is just that. If we tell on each other on what we need, and we stop keeping secrets that make us sick, it's not going to go anywhere. We're not going to help each other. So as I heal my sacred body through all the years of trauma of my kids, and I shed this as my last child moves out of the house, 39 years, as the sun comes in and shines on me right now, yay, her glory, her wisdom, her witness of her sacred authority. I love you. Ame Terasu. I'll sing a song. You can put your hands like this, and this was a teaching by Michio, and you put it up around the sun. Amaterasu, oi kami, wakai no mi, wakakahe, akeahu. And that's a beautiful practice to remember what gives us the warmth. It's an old, ancient Japanese practice. But isn't it okay to use sound to heal us? Holy wisdom, holy word. Adonai.